Welcome back. It's the special Up All Night with Bob extra close cam. Actually, we had some technical difficulties, but it doesn't matter. I'm over the moon to welcome our next guest. He's the costume designer from dozens of beloved series and specials, none closer to my heart than the one and only SCTV, on which he also appeared regularly as the titular leader of the Juul Haalmeyer dancers. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, joining us by phone today, Mr. Juul Haalmeyer. Hi, Juul.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fantastic. I can't tell you what a kick it is to talk to you. Part of the real reason I wanted to talk to you today specifically was the 81 and the 82 Christmas shows became kind of regular viewing around my household. So for me, talking to you is like somebody else talking to Alistair Sim or Bing Crosby. Before we even get into your appearances in those shows, let's just talk about some of those costumes as representative of some of the crazy work that you did on the show every single week, I will point out. So this is the one that included the Elton John, Liberace kind of dual pianos. How did Rick Moranis' costume come together in that sketch? He's got kind of like I can only describe it as like a wreath of baubles around him. Is that fair?
That's exactly what it is. So many of the looks that I had new were thrown together. And for some reason, I always traveled with Christmas decorations. So I had the balls, and I brought a jumpsuit from the Lotto Canada show that I used to do. And I just safety pinned it on it there, and boom. And I brought a white top hat, and I put some of the silver shit on there.
So you kind of traveled with your own tickle trunk.
Oh, yeah. Like over 100 on them.
Oh my gosh. So those, when you say you traveled with Christmas ornaments, like the ones that Moranis was wearing in that sketch, those are just that stuff you had ready to go.
Yeah. And it always had to be that instance, you know?
Yes.
It's not like a Hollywood designer making a sketch and going into the workroom. I want this thing beaded. I want that one sequined or whatever. It's make it with what you got.
Of course, now Dave Thomas is dressed as Liberace, which is its own sort of explosion. So here's my real question. I think I'm dying to know. How long between the night that you taped that sketch how far back was it that Dave comes to you and says, here's what we need? How long do you have?
Never very long, and never long enough, you know, and we never spoke about it. It just happened, you know. Okay, you're going to be Liberace, Rick is going to be Elton John, and whatever else, and we never rarely discussed it. And they just went with whatever I would throw together.
Right.
And we rarely had fittings on them, so it was always a surprise on the day.
No time for fittings.
No.
So then you've got Neil Simon's Nutcracker Suite.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Which is another huge production featuring now Dave Thomas is dressed as Michael Caine as the Snowflake King. And Catherine O'Hara is playing Maggie Smith as the Sugar Plum Fairy. Again, unbelievable costumes. Oh, and Alan Alda now. Yes, the Prince.
My God, yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful show. It's a beautifully made piece of television. If you look back on it, and I know that you were probably there, and you know where all the strings were showing or the whatever. But on TV, it looks fabulous.
Well, thank you.
Yes, my sweet. We got a marvelous relationship. She calls the shots and I pour them. Excuse me.
They make the Bickersons look like Ozzy and Harriet. Can I get you a drink?
It was fun to do, you know. That particular one basically came from Malamar in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
And so I brought up several options that we can use. And the biggest problem always was with the when they were doing specific people, finding the right eyewear, for Michael Caine and all of that. So we'd have to go out and find a pair of glasses and put clear glass in them to make it work.
Oh, wow. All of which eventually climaxes, if you will, in the Dusty Town holiday special, which is, again, here you've got John Candy playing Divine in a dress I'm assuming you sewed him into.
No, that was one that Luigi at Malabar made for me.
Oh,
I
is that
knew
right?
that was coming, so he made that one for me. Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous. And of course, Dusty herself. How did you sort of puff up Catherine? Because she was playing Dusty Town was playing a woman sort of 40 years, I think, or so. Catherine Senior probably at the time.
Right.
What was there? Just some extra stuffing in there? What was
No,
in
we made a foam rubber bodysuit for Catherine.
Oh, really?
And a foam rubber, yeah.
Oh, isn't that neat? And then we have just a couple of the most bizarre things I've ever seen on TV, which absolutely blew my brain as an 11-year-old child, which is how old I was when it first aired. We get it's I don't even have notes in front of me. I can remember all these characters. Andrea Martin plays Marcy Odette,
Right.
who was I think the daughter of a woman that Dusty Town used to perform at some lounge with.
Yeah.
She's a solid gold dancer now, and she comes on to do this rather provocative number. That scene where you are dancing with her, and I don't recall who the other dancer is. It's maybe somebody from the crew.
Yeah, Christopher Nutton.
Oh, is that who that is?
He was our prop man.
Oh, okay. And you put together this sort of quasi-obscene. How quickly did that come together? Pretty quick, I'm guessing. This is about 3 in the morning. Is that right?
Yes, it was. After we shot Divine on ice in 40 below.
Well, this was my other question. So Divine on ice. Well, how long were you out on that ice shooting that silly number? It's so funny.
About 5 hours.
Wow. And did you have a trailer out there or anything?
No, there was a hut there. That was it. We had a little hut to go to. That
like
was
a
it.
little fishing hut or something.
Yeah, that was it. That's all we had. And a bottle of cognac for John.
Yeah.
And I didn't provide any long johns or any thermals or anything for anyone.
Oh, no.
We were dying out there.
Oh, it's a miracle you got through it. And then so then it's that night. So after a week of making all these costumes and all this, you're doing this thing out of the ice. Now you're coming back. It's 3 in the morning. You must have just been exhausted for the entire time you were doing that show.
Yeah, and scared. I was scared like crazy. Like, how do we do this? And then I had to sort of choreograph it as well with help from Christopher. But I don't know how to dance at all.
Right.
Which is obvious. And it was very hard. So I was in panic mode a lot of the time there.
What was the first appearance of the Juul Haalmeyer dancers? Was it the Perry Como show?
No, the Lola Henderson special was the first one.
Oh, the Bouncing Back to You.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, I recall. I love that. Oh, so that was the first appearance. Okay. That's fantastic. So, and so this was just, we need dancers. But how did it come? Like, how did you come to claim the moniker of the dance troupe? Who suggested that?
Catherine did that.
Did she?
She couldn't audition people that were as mad as we were. So she said, "Why don't you do it with a bunch of guys on the crew?" So
Right.
that's what it ended up being. And just whatever we could all do together at the same time is what got on camera, which is basically material from a dancing class that I took at Roland and Romaine in Toronto to lose weight, because I was 40 pounds overweight.
Right.
So all of the moves are the warm-up exercises from that dance studio.
There was a lot of this one. I remember this.
Yeah.
The walk-off move, right?
Yeah.
Jeez,
That was
that's so.
Eugene's idea.
Well, so this carries us forward to the 82 show. And speaking of Lola and Juul, they've now begun a romance
Right.
in this episode. And this is one of my, if it's not my, it's up there in the top 2 or 3 of these. Lola Heatherton's especially special Christmas special. You know, one of my favorite clips in this is we're going, of course, Lola's looking at Christmas past, present, and future.
Right.
Past is just a beautifully spot on. I think it was like 66. It was like Lola's first special back in the 60s or something. And it's her and Martin Short, and the outfits in that and the wig on Catherine is just magnificent. Do you remember that?
I knew. You know, that was the most difficult part, because both Marty and Catherine are so knowledgeable about all that stuff.
Right.
And I wasn't.
Oh, interesting.
And that music, without rehearsal, they knew all the stuff. And of course, I didn't. And I thought I was going to fall apart there, because I can't compete as a performer with Marty and Catherine, you know?
Right. And yet, Juul was a character that appeared on the show, semi-regularly, and some really, I mean, he was, well, first of all, I thought you were hilarious on the show, and you whatever version of that, yourself you were playing, I mean, you were, whenever you had like Juul bouncing off like, Gus, or one of the idiots at the stations or whatever, Juul just getting frustrated because he can't get his rehearsal space or whatever it is. But I love that sketch, and it's just so sweet and kind of silly. And I can remember thinking, well, I hope things work out for Lola. I always want to work out for Lola.
Well, and the thing is, where I had to come in to the scene, Catherine is such a method actress. That was also real to me. It wasn't as if Catherine was saying it. It was like, here's someone deeply hurt. And every time it was like, oh my God.
Oh, go ahead, enjoy the love you have. As long as I'm here to entertain you. Someone to feel sorry for, is that what you're looking for? Lola! What do you want? I don't need you! I don't need anybody! I guess I was wrong. Julie and I have worked together since 1963.
Look, that doesn't date us. We could have been 10 years old for all you know.
And never once did anything happen between us until this Christmas special.
Your heart always goes out to Lola. I mean, every time when they try, in that comeback special we were talking about earlier, and she just can't quite get it together. And but then I wanted to just so rounding out in the 82 show, the sort of wraparound in that episode is Johnny LaRue has gone back ostensibly to where he was the year prior, hoping that Santa will come back and bring him another crane, and Santa never shows up, and eventually winds up at like a mission, and he follows a light home that takes him to his friends. And
right.
Talking about sweet scenes, this is like Tiny Tim for me every year.
Yeah.
So Gus has woken a guy up in the middle of the night, and the guy's still wearing his nightcap, and everybody comes in, and it's Edith and Gus, and I think probably Ed Grimley, I think, and you and Lola. and Johnny finds his way to the people that love him.
Right.
Yeah.
I was in that whole wraparound.
Yes, you were.
Episode.
You were.
Yeah. And John was such a sweetheart that I have known since I met him on the David Steinberg show in the early 70s. And I did that shoot with him when he was doing LaRue, and he was drunk late at night.
Oh.
On the street. What was it called?
Oh, well, he was doing Street Beef.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, one mic, one camera.
And that was that same night that it was 40 below.
Yes.
It was so cold out there. Yeah.
So you were there, but you were there on set that night.
I was on the ground next to John.
You're kidding.
With his cognac.
Well, he's rolling around in that skinny little jacket in the snow.
Yeah.
Making snow angels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's marvelous, Juul. That's what this is what I came for.
Oh, good.
We're on the subject that I kind of wanted to land on, which was your relationship with John Candy, and so you remained close with. I know you were his dresser on Cool Runnings. I'm assuming your friendship continued.
Yeah. Well, that was a funny one with John. He called me one day and he said, "Juul, I need you here tomorrow." And I said, "John, where? What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm doing a movie in Calgary." And I said, "John, when do you start shooting?" And he said, "Tomorrow." And I said, "I can't pull a movie together in a day." And he said, "No, there's a whole crew here. I just need someone to hang with." And I said, "John, I'm starting a pilot tomorrow." He said, "Cancel it. And here's Disney's number. Tell him what your fee is, and I'll have tickets for you this afternoon, and get on a plane to come here." And it was mainly because John was comfortable with me, because I'd always dressed for the shows we did in Toronto. And so I went to Calgary and spent a month there and a month in Jamaica with him.
I mean, it's one thing to invite you to Calgary, but Jamaica's, yeah, that's pretty good. You're doing good there, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun time. And all I had to do was, I said, "John, well, I'll keep track of your continuity. You know, all your wardrobe continuity, right. I'll do that. And for the rest of the time, we had a laugh in his trailer playing cards and dominoes, until he was needed on set.
That's amazing. Does it strike you, or did it strike you at the time, and certainly since his passing, he could have called anybody. He obviously very much, you were obviously very close. I mean, he obviously very, very much enjoyed your company. Yeah?
I'm not sure about that, because I can be a pain in the ass. But we had a good time, yeah.
Yeah,
and he had wife and kids there, and we were friends as well, so it was really nice.
We've talked about the Christmas shows today just because I'm doing this little Christmas special, and they're especially beloved. But the whole show, and also, I mean, the list of credits, if anybody goes to IMDb, is as long as your arm. But the work that you did, I mean, under those unbelievable time constraints, and then just the sort of ongoing love for the Juul Haalmeyer dancers. I will also point out the still thriving and growing Juul Haalmeyer Dancers fan club on YouTube. of which I
I
am a proud
know.
member.
I know.
Does this knock you out?
Well,
There's a couple of thousand members at least, I think.
Well, that sort of threw me for a loop because I had no idea until those shows aired and people started recognizing me on the streetcar, and I thought, what the hell? What the hell is this? And the fans were always there.
Right.
And I had no idea how big the show was, what it had become at all. None.
Juul, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to indulge me in this today. I'm a big fan, and I know, as you say, you're not self-described as a performer, but when you were on camera, you had a real warmth and likability, and I always somewhere in the back of my mind, I was always hoping that maybe Juul and Lola managed to work it out, and they both graduated from a sober living facility and are doing great.
Well, thank you. That's nice to hear.
Well, thank you so much, Juul. I super appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I
Okay.
enjoyed it.
Okay, good. I'm so glad.